Hey, welcome to the Dodgeball Marketing Podcast. I'm Michael. This is Chris.
How you doing?
Good. Doing great. We got some haze
There's
outside.
always a small amount of awkwardness in that first hay.
Yeah, the Canadian wildfires.
I blame myself. It's the smoke in the air.
That's better than tornadoes and pandemics, though. And best wishes to the people in Canada.
Yeah.
Episode 47, SEO Basics. How should I use social media in my online marketing?
How should you?
Well, SEO is kind of a big category, but it's influenced by everything else. So social media channels, how you use those, how you have those integrated, that can send a signal to search engines. So we're going to talk about that. Yeah. Chris, you've got the first one. Let's talk about kind of picking your channels.
Well, the first is kind of like foundational, right? But it's selecting the best channels for your business. So there's always a limited amount of time and budget to spend on something like social media. So it's really important so you're not going to have a 10 channel strategy starting out, right?
Yeah. You don't need like 15 or 20 channels and this big bar of links somewhere.
Yeah,
like the old bookmarking plugins.
Like a new investment planning firm for seniors isn't going to have a TikTok strategy.
Yeah.
So that leads us into like where should you be? So some good rules of thumb. There's maybe 5 or 6 big social media sites that you should look at, right? Mm-hmm. So any consumer brand, your ice cream shop, your dermatology practice, what should be on Facebook and Instagram, right?
Facebook, Instagram, right out of the gate.
Anything that is relating from business to business, obviously, should have a LinkedIn presence. So your financial advisor, your human resources consultant, etc., LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. If you skew young, and we're talking 18 to 30, you should probably be on TikTok right now.
Okay.
That's where all the action is. That's where a lot of energy is. That's where a lot of screen time is. So you should probably be on TikTok, making videos for TikTok. What else? If you're doing anything that is in the news, entertainment,
current events,
political, you should be on Twitter.
Yeah.
Right? So really selecting, and if you spend any amount of time at all on any of these platforms, you're going to get a sense for where you fit in. So really being selective, and don't feel pressure. A lot of businesses feel pressure. I've served businesses before that were like a blinds company or a shutters company, and they really were like, we got to get on Twitter. I'm like, well, why?
Yeah,
no one's talking about shutters and home improvement. Like they're fighting about whatever.
It's not a hot topic.
Yeah, so it's not really part of the conversation there. You're going to be sort of don't feel like. Is it bad to be on there? No, but you're not missing out on anything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one of the things like when we work with companies like Trico Painting in California, they have really great presence on Facebook and use photos of job sites, sort of before and after pictures.
You can find them at Trico Painting Facebook URL Trico Painting.
Yep, facebook.com/Trico Painting. But that's an example of where you have something really visual. You want to show that before and after. So Facebook and Instagram, they've really done a good job of being the go-to. And of course, Instagram's a property of Facebook now, but they're the go-to for these highly visual and really photos and video are interchangeable. I don't think people really think of them as different formats anymore. We might think of that more for YouTube, but for social media, I don't think we really think of those as two separate formats anymore.
Yeah. So that's step one. Like, take a look at who you are, what you do, and who your customer is, and then pick your best channels. Don't try to go after all of them at once.
Yep. Yeah, and the real big value there is not like, we're B2B, we should be on LinkedIn, but it gives you permission to sort of cut away a lot of distraction that could take energy away from those primary channels.
Yep.
Number 2, how strong is your social engagement? Get familiar with your KPIs. When you post something, you want it to be sort of relevant and interesting to your audience. And so some of the numbers that you can start to watch is how many likes and shares are you getting? And we like to just roll those up into an engagement number. Just how much engagement are you getting? And the social media platforms all provide a number of analytics. And if you're a Dodgeball SEO customer or a GoApps customer, you will have an Apogee metrics dashboard where we'll pull all those metrics in from your social media channels and give you tabs in your suite of dashboards to see those numbers. But it's good. One of the things that we've seen over the years that's really helpful is that when a company is new to social media, they can't really tell if everyone is liking and engaging with the post because they shared it to friends and family, or they're trying to get something new started and the employees were very motivated to engage with a social media post, or if it's actually a really hot topic. So once you kind of get the new off of you and you're in these channels, you'll have a sense of what topics are most interesting. Mm-hmm. Typically, anything that's in the news, anything that's sort of timely, if you're doing something B2B related, for example, if you're in the cybersecurity industry in healthcare and there is a major cybersecurity breach in the energy industry, well, guess what? That's going to be of interest to people even in healthcare, even though it's a different industry. Yeah. And so that's something you don't really know until you're doing it. But we can see sort of the spikes in the engagement with social media, and that's really good. And the way that kind of factors into SEO is make sure that you're learning from what's hot in your social media activity, where you're seeing engagement, and go ahead and roll that topic up to your blog. Make sure that if you get some traction and some energy in social media, that you're repeating that topic, going in a little deeper, maybe get a few pull quotes from people, maybe adding an infographic and making a blog post. And understanding where your engagement is and how hot the topics are. This may be kind of common sense to people, but for a lot of folks who are kind of figuring out how all this stuff works together, that's how these two things work together in terms of engagement, is they're influencing one another. And then the same way, you can go the other way too. If you have blog topics that have been really great over the years, you've seen steady, consistent inbound traffic because of that topic, make sure you're rotating something in that category to your blog every once in a while.
Yep.
Or to your social posts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's good. Number 3, make sure your social channels are listed in the footer of your website. Michael, there was a time where it was really popular to list it at the top of your website in the header, the little row in the header. People have moved away from that, and I think that's good. It's kind of not a great idea because it gives people this constant leak out from your site to
it's taking them away from other real high contact touch points like phone number or contact form.
And you're leaking people away from your site.
Yeah.
But listing them in your footer is a good idea because it gives people, a lot of times, Michael, especially in service-oriented businesses, they will go through a vetting process when they are looking at a company. And a lot of times that vetting process involves checking out the social channels, right? Yeah. So they're going to want to see, like, do they have social channels? If not, like, I don't know, how do I suss out their reputation and, like, how people feel about them? And like the number of followers and things like that. So having that there for people, and people are trained at this point to scroll down to the bottom to look for those links, right?
Yeah.
So that to me is the primary is probably the best reason to put it on your website, just for people who are motivated to go down and look at your social channels, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your whatever. They have that available to them, and if you're doing what you should be doing on those channels, you're going to see activity, you're going to see engagement, they're going to see like a non-zero amount of followers,
right?
To give them that feel-good impression of like, okay, this is a real company that has a real reputation, they have real followers, and they didn't just like throw up a website.
Yeah. Yeah, it's telling them that the lights are on in somebody's home.
The lights are on. That's right. So really simple thing to do. Just put those links in the footer. Give people an avenue or a backdoor to check you out.
Yep. And I would just something we always do is anytime we're linking off site, we'll throw that open into a new tab. Just that's a standard for usability. If you're going off site, you expect it to be in a new tab. And that way you're not sending people away from the website. To kind of offset that.
Yep.
You still got that tab open, keeping that phone number, that contact form, that lead form, whatever it is, in their face. And then also on putting stuff in the footer, I would say that it doesn't have to be huge, but avoid falling into the trap of usability being an issue. Sometimes those icons, a lot of templated websites have them just really, really small. And you want to make sure that anything in your footer is like part of the website. Don't treat it like fine print. Make it a part of the usability of the website. Right. Use good principles of universal design, and make it a little bit of like a destination. Maybe we tend to do bottom right corner of the website, like in a web based view of the website, or a desktop view of the website. But yeah, we'll make sure that those icons are not so small that they're kind of hidden there like a copyright statement, but they're pretty clickable, and of course even thumbable on a mobile device.
Yep.
Next up, and this is this is something we could do an entire episode on this topic, but are all the social channel settings being used? It's good to use and to populate all of the ways that you can add information about your business to each of your social channels. So when you get onto a site like Facebook, you can do the minimum to set up an account or a page. You can just have the name of your company and nothing else, but you have a lot of other real estate. You have room for a description. You have room for a full URL. You have room for a phone number. You can designate your price range. You can provide an email address. You can provide your hours of operation. You can even select what service it is that you offer so that you're part of a standardized taxonomy. In this case, in this example for Facebook. And then LinkedIn, these other channels are going to be similar. Twitter's not as robust, but for these channels where you really want to engage people and be present, having all of those fields populated and validated is really important for SEO. One of the things that's happening there is Google, they're able to see if the phone number in your footer is the same as on your Facebook page. They're able to sort of match these things up. And so when someone's doing a branded search in Google, they may get your homepage as a first result, and then they may get your Facebook page as a second or third or fourth result after a couple of searches or after a couple of results that are about your brand, like a homepage and an About Us page. And so the benefit of that is you're pushing a competitor off the page, off the search results page. So making sure that you've got all those fields populated and you're thinking through how your page is going to look and checking to make sure. You can even generate leads directly from the social media page because people see something and the phone number is right there. And so no matter what your business is, you don't want to leave, in aviation we say don't leave any runway behind you. You go all the way to the end of the runway. So don't waste any of these resources. Once this gets set up, it's there, and it's probably going to be there for years. So make sure you use all those settings. Same thing for images, like the header image in Facebook or any of these channels or LinkedIn, any of these channels where you get to have a little bit of creative influence. Make sure you utilize those and populate those fields and those images.
That's great. Lastly, make sure you have an effective hashtag approach. So if you don't know, you probably know this, but hashtags are little links that show up on various platforms. I think they all have them, some version of these, right? That you put a little pound sign and then you put a word, and that acts as a link where you can go then to another page and scroll everyone else who has hashtagged that same thing.
Yeah.
So a couple things to say about hashtags. One is they're more important on some platforms than others. So primarily we're talking about Twitter and Instagram. Okay. And those are, they're important on any platform that's completely open. What I mean by that is you can follow anyone at any time, regardless of their consent to follow you. So like Twitter's default behavior is I can follow anyone at any time. Anyone can follow me at any time. So that makes that platform really open. So anytime I hashtag, it's just open to anyone in the world. So if I hashtag something, anyone can search that and find me. Facebook's a little different because you have to be friends with that. So Facebook's more of a closed network. LinkedIn, I don't know. I feel like LinkedIn's kind of in the middle, maybe. Like some people I feel like people don't really.
It's more content oriented now than ever.
It's not really. But so we're really, really primarily here talking about Twitter and Instagram. So, so one, focus on those platforms. If you're focused on those platforms, hashtags are more important to you. And secondly, the thing I would say is one. Don't just make up your own hashtag. A lot of people make up their own hashtags to make sure you put some thought into it. There are various search engines you can use and get what the post volume is. I think Instagram even tells you if you put it in how many posts. So put some thought into which ones you're going to use. Use ones that get more use, right?
Yeah.
The more people are using.
And you can start typing and see which ones they suggest, and they're suggesting the higher volume.
Right. And secondly, I want to get your opinion on this because I don't have a strong opinion, but I'm curious to what you think. I say use as many as you possibly can.
Yeah,
because if you do it, I see a lot of people do the post and then they do like ... to separate it out so it doesn't clutter up the primary text of the post, especially on platforms like Instagram. You do ... separate it, and then you just explode like 20 different hashtags at the bottom. To me, it's just more hooks in the water.
Yeah.
It's uglier to look at if you tend to scroll down.
Yeah.
But it's discoverability. I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I would say that we're in the Wild West of hashtags right now still. And so right now, more is better. It's like it used to be with SEO, just more is better, more is better, more is better.
Yeah, and I'm not aware that the platforms dilute you. If you use 20, does it dilute your reach or your ranking on those? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think right now I'm thinking about each individual one. Now, I will say this: if you're trying to drive people from Facebook over to, say, LinkedIn, they will show it to hardly anyone. So there are ways that they regulate, and they don't show as often. But I haven't seen that broader hashtagging. I haven't seen it sort of punished. So I would say more is better. It's just a trade off.
But just be judicious with the ones that you use.
I would say maintain high relevance, because even for somebody visually scanning, you don't want someone coming in because of a hashtag, have low engagement, because then you're going to have chronically low engagement, and that post is going to be that's going to hurt the post.
Right.
But I would say the volume could be high on the number of tags as long as the relevance is protected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
Excellent. Well, good. Yeah, this has been episode 47.
47.
Dodgeball Marketing Podcast. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Subscribe and follow. And we're always talking about online marketing topics, a lot of search engine optimization, a lot of other stuff. And drop your comments, your likes below, and let us know you're out there. And send us your questions, and we'll cover them on the podcast. And we'll talk soon. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot.